Welcome to the Crime Report, where we delve into the darkest corners of real-life mysteries. From unsolved murders to shocking criminal conspiracies, we explore the stories that shook the world. Each episode, we take you step by step through the investigation, uncovering the truth behind the headlines and the secrets that still remain hidden. If you're a fan of crime stories, stay tuned and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Get ready, because we're about to uncover a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Blood in the Fog, the Redmoor Hill Murder. Part 1. The Body in the Fog. The early morning fog rolled thick over the quiet village of Redmoor Hill, smothering the cottages and narrow lanes in a soft gray blanket. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel suspended, quiet, cold, and heavy. But what the fog concealed that day would shatter the village's fragile peace forever. At 6:12 a.m., jogger Martha Gilmore placed a frantic call to the local constabulary. She had been taking her usual route along the eastern slope when she noticed something unnatural in the thicket by the old stone fence: a body. The victim, later identified as Daniel Firth, was a 34-year-old schoolteacher from the next village over. He was found with his throat slashed, hands bound behind his back with wire, and a look of terror frozen in his dead eyes. Detective Inspector Elena Graves, a seasoned investigator known for her cold demeanor and razor-sharp instincts, arrived before sunrise had fully broken. Something about the scene disturbed her, not just the brutality of the murder, but its symbolism. On the body, she found a strange marking carved into the skin above the heart, a spiral with 3 outward lines, something that didn't match any known gang signs or religious symbols. Elena took a long breath and whispered, "This wasn't random." The villagers were shaken. Redmoor Hill was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked and helped one another chop firewood. A ritualistic murder was something out of a nightmare. And the fog that never lifted, made everything feel like a bad dream. As for Daniel Firth, no one in Redmoor Hill could say why he'd be there. He had no friends or family in the village, no known ties. The only clue was a half-burnt notebook found 30 meters from the body, its pages waterlogged and torn, but one phrase still readable: "He knows what happened in 1993. Detective Graves' instincts flared. 1993. That wasn't just any year. That was the year of the Redmoor disappearances, a cold case involving 3 missing teenagers that had never been solved. The connection was chilling. The symbols, the cryptic note, the location. Could someone be trying to reopen the past by way of bloodshed? Part 2. The Redmoor Secret. Detective Elena Graves stared at the faded files spread across her desk in the temporary mobile unit station near Redmoor Hill. The 1993 case had haunted the local force for over 3 decades. 3 teenagers, Paul Granger, Leah Miles, and Ethan Vale, vanished during the Redmoor Harvest Festival. No bodies, no suspects, no resolution. The spiral symbol carved into Daniel Firth's chest wasn't in the original case file, but something else was. Ethan Vale had once carved the same shape into his school desk, according to a teacher's note. That desk, dusty and forgotten, still sat in storage at the old Redmoor School. Elena arranged to visit the school. It had been shut down in 1999 and left to rot. Inside, mold clung to the walls and old lesson plans were still scrawled in chalk on the blackboard. But in the back of room 6B, the desk remained, and the carving was still there. As she photographed the symbol, a janitor named Roger Clay appeared in the doorway. He'd kept an unofficial eye on the property for years. When Elena asked if he remembered Ethan Vale, he nodded gravely. "Quiet lad," he said, "but not right in the head." Said the forest spoke to him. Roger told Elena something chilling. A week before the 1993 disappearances, Ethan claimed he and the others had found a stone altar in the woods, buried under vines near the Redmoor cliffs. He swore it was ancient and that they'd seen something. No one believed him. Elena drove out that afternoon with a forensic team. The cliffs were steep, and the fog never quite cleared even in daylight. But after hours of searching, they found it, the altar. Cracked, mossy, and marked with the same spiral as on the victim. Suddenly, her radio crackled. A second body had been found. This time in the riverbank near Hollow Creek, 8 miles south. The victim was a woman, same bindings, same cut throat. This time, a name was carved into her chest: Leah Miles. Elena froze. Leah Miles was one of the missing teens. If this was truly her, she hadn't disappeared. She had been kept alive for over 30 years. And now, someone was killing them off one by one. But that begged the question, where were the others? And more importantly, who had kept her all this time? Part 3. The Ritual of Redmoor. The body in the morgue was Leah Miles. DNA confirmation made it irrefutable. The villagers of Redmoor Hill were in shock. The girl they thought had vanished in 1993 had been alive, somewhere, until now. But she had aged. Her body bore scars from restraints, injections, beatings. For 30 years, she had been someone's prisoner. Elena Graves stared at the evidence, bored in disbelief. That made 2 victims, Daniel Firth and Leah Miles, both connected to the original Redmoor disappearances. But Daniel hadn't been one of the teens. He was too young. So why was he killed? The answer came from Leah's remains. The medical examiner had retrieved a tiny capsule sewn under her skin. Inside a photo, blurry, yellowed, but clear enough, it showed 4 hooded figures in a circle, surrounding what looked like a person tied to the altar. The altar. That same altar in the woods Elena had visited. The killer wasn't just murdering victims, they were reenacting an unfinished ritual. But who was the 4th teen? Paul Granger and Ethan Vale were the others. That left Paul unaccounted for. Ethan was presumed dead after vanishing, but Paul, he might still be out there. Elena returned to Redmoor Hill's town archives. Digging through property records, she found something chilling. A remote hunting cabin, purchased in cash in 2006 under a fake name, but the signature was unmistakable P. Granger. Armed with a warrant and backup, Elena and her team approached the cabin at dawn. Inside, the air was thick with incense and mold. Symbols lined the walls, and jars filled with preserved organs and blood sat on shelves. In the basement, they found chains, a surgical table, and old videotapes. But no Paul Granger. Just one last thing, a mirror, set in a wooden frame carved with spirals, sitting across from the altar in the basement. A note was pinned to it. He watches through the spiral. Blood opens the gate. One of the tapes showed Ethan Vale, alive, much older, strapped to the altar. In the background, Paul's voice chanted incantations. Paul was performing the ritual again. And Ethan was still alive, at least when the tape was filmed. The next morning, a tip came in. A hunter saw someone dragging a man through the woods north of Redmoor Hill, toward Graven Hollow, a place whispered about in village legend, a supposed portal to another world where rituals to the old gods once took place. Elena raced there with her team. In the clearing, the final ritual had begun. Ethan, weak and unconscious, was tied to the altar. Paul Granger, unrecognizably aged and gaunt, stood above him holding a dagger, chanting in a language no one recognized. Police tackling an older man in a cult robe at a ritual site, unconscious victim on the altar nearby. Ethan was saved. He would never be the same. But he lived. Paul Granger never explained why he did it, only that they promised me eternity. He died in his cell 2 days later from a self-inflicted wound shaped like a spiral. Elena Graves closed the file and walked into the fog one last time. Redmoor Hill had its answers, but the whispers in the forest had only just begun. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more thrilling mysteries like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your likes and shares help us grow and bring even more gripping tales to life. Thanks for listening.